Hey everyone, let's talk about something I know a lot about. Unfortunately, making dumb money mistakes. I've been there, trust me, I've done it all. Chasing those supposed quick wins, buying into the hype, listening to every little whisper about a hot stock. It led me down a path where I lost a good chunk of what I had worked so hard for. But hey, that is why I am here. I am going to share some of my hard-earned lessons, so maybe, just maybe, you 1T have to go through the same pain. These are real practical tips born from my own financial blunders. First up, something I really wish I knew when I was younger, the 24-hour rule. This is a game changer. Seriously, if you are looking at buying anything over, say, $100, just sleep on it, give yourself a full day to think it over. I can tell you how many times I impulse bought something only to regret it later. That feeling of buyer's remorse, it is not fun. So, if that new gadget, those fancy shoes, or that online course still looks good after 24 hours, then go for it. But more often than not, for me anyway, that urge fades. This simple rule has saved my wallet from a lot of unnecessary bleeding. I've made so many spontaneous purchases in the past, thinking I needed something only to use it once or twice. Now, I try to be more mindful, and that 24-hour pause button is a huge help. Next, meal planning. Oh man, this one hits home. I used to be terrible at this. I'd come home from a long day, hungry, and just grab whatever was easy, which usually meant ordering takeout. And let me tell you, those food delivery apps, we get to them later. They add up faster than you think. Now, I try to plan out my meals for the week, not every single one, but at least the dinners and some lunches. It stops me from making those expensive impulse decisions when my stomach is rumbling. It also helps me avoid those extra trips to the grocery store, where I always seem to buy more than I need. It is not about being super strict, just having a general idea. Before I just open the fridge, see nothing, and immediately reach for my phone. Now, I usually have something ready or a quick plan. And that saves a lot of cash. Here is one that might sound a little weird, but hear me out. Simplify your wardrobe. I am not saying wear the exact same unwashed shirt every day. That would be gross. What I mean is you don't need 100 different outfits. My everyday uniform is pretty simple. Black shirt, black pants. Maybe a different jacket or hoodie. It is like a cartoon character, right? You probably wouldn't even notice. Most people don't. This approach has saved me a surprising amount of money. I used to buy so many clothes I never wore just because I thought I needed variety. Now, I focus on a few quality pieces that work together, and it is so much less stressful and a lot cheaper. I remember thinking I needed a new outfit for every occasion, always trying to keep up. Now I realize that nobody really cares that much about what I am wearing. They usually more focused on themselves, which is a good realization to have. Haircuts, this is another area where I used to just throw money away. I used to spend a good $40 a month on haircuts, which is almost $500 a year. That is real money. Then, when things shut down during the pandemic, I realized I could just cut my own hair. It is not perfect, but it is good enough. And if I need a little help with the back, a friend can usually lend a hand. For simple haircuts, especially for guys, it is not that hard to learn. You save a ton, and it takes like 15 minutes. I mean, sure, I probably look a little less sharp, but my bank account looks a lot sharper. It is all about priorities before. I just accepted that as a regular expense, never even questioned it. Now, it is an easy $500 back in my pocket. Automate your savings. This is one of the smartest things I ever did, especially after all my past investment fiascos. I used to just hope I'd have money left over at the end of the month to save. But that rarely happened. Now, I have money automatically transferred from my bank account to my investment account every time I get paid. I don't even see it, so I don't miss it. It just goes straight into building a more stable future. It takes the guesswork and the temptation out of saving. This is where I started to shift my mindset from chasing risky investments to building a solid foundation. It is not about trying to get rich quick. It is about consistency and letting time do its thing. Here is another one, organic food. Now, I am all for eating healthy, but I used to buy every single organic item thinking it was always better. The truth is, not all organic foods are worth the extra cost. My rule of thumb now is this: if it has a thick peel that I am not going to eat, like an avocado, a banana, or a coconut, I usually just buy the regular version. The peel protects it, so you are not getting as much exposure to whatever sprays might be on it. But for things like apples, where I eat the skin, I go organic if I can. It is about being smart, not just blindly following trends. I've saved a good amount by being more selective about my organic purchases. I used to think organic was always the only way to go, but I learned that sometimes it is just a marketing gimmick for certain items. Get a library card. I've been saying this for years, and I'll say it again, get a library card. Libraries are amazing, and so many people overlook them. They have way more than just books, movies, music, internet access, study guides, even electronics sometimes. All for free. I mean, seriously, free entertainment, free resources before. I rent movies, buy books, subscribe to all sorts of things. Now, I check the library first. It is a huge money saver, and it is a great community resource. It is shocking how much good stuff is just sitting there waiting to be used completely free. I used to scoff at the library, thinking it was outdated. Boy, was I wrong? They've really modernized, and it is a treasure trove of free stuff. No shopping when you are hungry. This is a big one for me. And I've learned it the hard way countless times. If I go to the grocery store on an empty stomach, I buy everything. Everything looks delicious. Those impulse buys jump into my cart, and suddenly my bill is double what it should be. So now, I make sure I eat a good meal before I head to the store. It makes a huge difference. You are clearer-headed, you stick to your list, and you avoid all those tempting, unnecessary purchases. It is a simple trick, but it is incredibly effective. IV probably wasted hundreds of dollars over the years just from hungry grocery trips. Now, I am much more disciplined laundry detergent. Powdered detergent. Trust me on this one. I used to buy those fancy pods thinking they were convenient. But if you look at the cost per load, powdered detergent is almost always the cheapest option. It is the same stuff, just in a less flashy package. Companies figured out they could charge more for liquid and even more for pods. It is a smart marketing strategy for them, but it is a waste of money for us. So ditch the pods, go for the powder, and the same goes for bar soap. It is usually a lot cheaper and lasts longer than liquid soap. I am all about getting the most bang for my buck. And this is a clear winner. I used to fall for all the convenience marketing, but now I know better. Eat less meat. Now, I am not saying you have to become a vegetarian unless you want to. That is totally up to you. But statistically, meat is more expensive than plant-based proteins. If you can cut down on your meat consumption, even just a little bit, you see a noticeable difference in your grocery bill. Maybe 1 or 2 meatless meals a week, or cutting back on portion sizes. It adds up. It is not just about the money. It is also healthier for you and the planet. I've found that incorporating more plant-based meals into my diet has not only saved me money, but I also feel better before every meal felt like it needed meat to be satisfying. Now, I am more open to other options. Subscriptions. Oh boy, the subscription trap. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Disney+, gym memberships, apps, the list goes on and on. I bet if you looked at your credit card statement, you'd find a few subscriptions you barely use. I know I did. I used to subscribe to everything thinking I needed it all. Then I went through my statements and realized I was paying for services I rarely touched. Cut them. Be ruthless. If you are not getting value, cancel it. You can always resubscribe later if you truly miss it. This is a huge money drain for a lot of people, and it was for me too. Now, I only keep the essentials, and I even try to share family plans with friends or family where possible. It is amazing how quickly those $10 subscriptions add up. Change your own oil, fix your car yourself. Cars are expensive, period. I used to just take my car to the shop for everything, thinking I couldn't possibly do it myself. Then I realized how much I was paying for simple things like oil changes. It is really not that hard to learn the basics. A quick search online can show you how. And for an oil change, I can do it faster than driving to the mechanic, waiting, and driving back. Learning a little bit about your car can save you a ton over the years. It is empowering too, knowing you can handle some of the basic maintenance yourself. I am not saying become a master mechanic, but knowing how to do the simple stuff can save hundreds, if not thousands. I used to think cars were these magical black boxes, and only mechanics understood them. Now, I realize a lot of it is pretty straightforward. Cut your phone bill. Seriously, you are probably paying too much. There are so many affordable phone plans out there. Now, like $15 to $25 a month if you are paying $60, $80, or $100, you are getting ripped off. I know people who are still paying crazy amounts, and it just doesn't make sense with all the options available. Do a little research, find a cheaper provider. It is an easy way to save a significant amount of money every single month. I used to be stuck in an expensive contract thinking I needed the big name provider. Turns out the cheaper options work just as well for my needs. Stop spending money on sales. This is a tricky one, and it used to get me all the time. Oh, it is 30% off. I have to buy it. No, you don't, T. If you weren't planning on buying it in the first place, you are not saving money. You are spending money. Businesses have sales to get you to buy things you don't need. Don't fall for the trap. Unless it is something you genuinely needed and were going to buy anyway. Just walk away. IV bought so many things because they were on sale, only to realize later I didn't even want them. It is a psychological trick, and IV learned to resist its store brand over name brand for most food products. And a lot of other things too. The store brand is just as good as the name brand. And often they even made in the same factories. I mean, think about it. Frosted Mini Wheats versus the store brand Frosted Wheat cereal, usually almost identical, but the store brand is cheaper. The only exceptions for me are Pop-Tarts and Oreos. I have to admit, the name brands are just better, but for almost everything else, save your money, go for the store brand. It is an easy way to trim your grocery bill without sacrificing quality. I used to be a brand snob thinking name brand always meant better. I was wrong. Quit caffeine. Okay, I know this one will ruffle some feathers. I am not saying you have to completely give up your morning coffee if you love it. But if you are spending $5 a day on a fancy latte, that adds up if you are dependent on it and you feel like you need it every day. That is a cost that can quickly get out of control. I used to be hooked. If I didn't have my coffee, I was miserable. And if I was traveling, I'd end up spending a fortune on expensive coffee. Cutting back, or even just making it at home, can save you a surprising amount. It is not about deprivation. It is about being mindful of where your money goes. I've found that I actually feel more energetic without the caffeine roller coaster. Start a garden. This might sound a bit old-fashioned, but it is effective. My brother started a small garden last summer, and he was drowning in tomatoes. He froze them, canned them, and was still eating his homegrown vegetables. Months later, he probably saved hundreds of dollars on produce. You don't need a huge plot of land. Even a small container garden can make a difference. Plus, it is a nice hobby, and you get fresh, healthy food. I am not much of a gardener myself, but I've seen the benefits firsthand. It is a real way to cut down on food costs, track your expenses and income. This is non-negotiable. If you don't know where your money is going, you are never going to get ahead. Whether it is an app, a spreadsheet, or just a notebook, write it down. See exactly how much money is coming in and how much is going out. It makes everything so much clearer. You identify areas where you are overspending and where you can cut back. Before, I just had a vague idea, and that led to a lot of financial stress. Now, I know exactly where I stand, and it helps me make better decisions. It is like having a financial roadmap. Gym memberships. I see so many people paying for gym memberships they barely use. If you are going every day, awesome. Keep it up. Health is important, but if you are paying $50 or $100 a month and only going twice, that is $25 to $50 per Volt ISIT. That is a lot. You could probably get a great workout at home or at a local park for free. Run the numbers. If it is not worth it, cancel it. There are plenty of ways to stay active without shelling out for a gym you rarely visit. I used to feel guilty about canceling my gym membership, but then I realized I was just throwing money away. Now, I find free ways to stay active. Food delivery apps, delete them. Seriously, just delete them off your phone. I am guilty of this too. It is so easy, a few taps and food appears at your door. But it is not just the cost of the food, it is the delivery fees, service fees, tips, taxes. A $10 burger can quickly become a $25 meal. It is a convenience trap that drains your wallet. Go back to meal planning, cook at home, your bank account will thank you. I've deleted and re-downloaded these apps more times than I can count. Every time I get rid of them, I save so much money. It is a constant battle, but worth it. Cut alcohol. Again, not saying you have to become a teetotaler, but alcohol is expensive. If you are going out and buying multiple drinks at a bar, that can quickly add up to hundreds of dollars in a single night or weekend. Even buying it to drink at home can be costly. Cutting back, or even just making a conscious effort to drink more water or soda when you are out, can save a significant amount. I used to spend a lot on nights out, and while fun, it definitely was helping my financial goals. Now, I am much more moderate, and my wallet appreciates it. If you still want to socialize, consider having a few drinks with friends at home before heading out. It is much cheaper. Ditch the dryer. This might sound extreme, but dryers use a lot of energy, especially the heating element. If you have a clothesline, or even just some space to hang your clothes indoors, consider line drying them. It is not only cheaper, it is also better for the environment. You might save $50 a year, which isn't a huge amount, but every little bit helps. Plus, your clothes will probably last longer. It is a small change, but it makes a difference. I grew up without a dryer, and we always just hung clothes out. It is a habit that stuck with me. Bottled water.